No joke, no trigger, just unstoppable laughter echoing through a remote boarding school in East Africa. Days later, dozens more were laughing until they cried, fainted, and collapsed. Villages panicked, schools shut down, doctors were powerless. This is the true and chilling story of the Tanganyika Laughter Epidemic of 1962, an outbreak so strange it defies logic and still haunts psychology today. The year is 1962. Tanganyika, a new nation born just months earlier after British colonial rule, is full of hope but also tension. Independence brought pride, but also deep uncertainty. Entire communities were adjusting to new government, shifting traditions, and unknown futures. In the village of Kashasha, near Lake Victoria, a boarding school for girls promised education and modern opportunity. But beneath the surface, life was strict and stressful. Exams, language barriers, strict discipline, and the weight of expectation pressed on teenage students far from home. In this charged atmosphere, something invisible sparked. January 30th, 1962. 3 girls suddenly burst into fits of laughter during class. Teachers tried to quiet them, but the laughter wouldn't stop. It grew louder, wilder, tears streaming, bellies aching. Others joined in. Soon, nearly 100 students were laughing uncontrollably, some for hours, others for days. Some had trouble breathing, fainted from exhaustion, even broke out in rashes. Teachers, frightened and overwhelmed, shut the school. Parents rushed to collect daughters, believing curses or spirits were at work. But closing the doors didn't contain the outbreak. It carried the laughter into the surrounding countryside. Instead of fading, the laughter leapt like wildfire. Girls returned home, and the contagion went with them. Villages miles apart began to report mysterious outbreaks. Sudden laughter fits gripping groups of children, then adults. By March, over 200 people across nearby villages were afflicted. By June, the count may have reached 1,000. This wasn't joy. Witnesses described grimaces and tears. Laughter came with fainting spells, uncontrollable crying, pain in the chest and stomach, even rashes. People were terrified. They could not work, learn, or sleep. Entire communities shut down. Local health officers and British colonial administrators scrambled for answers. Some suspected bad air or water, others witchcraft or spiritual punishment. Quarantines were attempted, but failed. Schools were closed, as many as 14 in total, because laughter erupted every time students gathered. Doctors found no infection, no fever, no obvious toxin. Newspapers spread fear. Some headlines simply read, "Laughter Epidemic Strikes Villages." The government could only advise patience and calm, but the fear fed itself. Modern psychologists now call what happened a mass psychogenic illness, sometimes called mass hysteria. Under extreme stress, especially in close communities, emotions can spread faster than any germ. For the Kashasha girls, life was rigid. Strict boarding school rules, new cultural identities, exam pressure. Add the societal tension of a young nation, learning independence, and their anxiety may have erupted into uncontrollable laughter. Laughter is a powerful reflex, contagious even when unwanted. Neurologically, it can hijack breathing and movement, spread empathy and panic. Once it started, every giggle fed the next. Survivors remember fear far more than humor. One former student recalled later, "We tried to stop, but couldn't. Our chests hurt, our heads hurt, but the laughter kept coming." Parents described running for miles with daughters on their backs, desperate for a doctor who could help. Villagers whispered about spirits and curses. Some burned herbs or prayed through the night, hoping the fits would end. Teachers broke down in tears, feeling powerless as entire classrooms dissolved into chaos. Work halted, weddings postponed, markets closed. Whole villages stood still, waiting for the madness to pass. By mid-1963, the epidemic finally burned itself out. No medicine stopped it, time and distance did. Schools slowly reopened, fields were tilled again, laughter faded to an uneasy quiet. Health officials quietly labeled it mass hysteria, filed their reports, and moved on. But those who lived through it carried the memory of something inexplicable, a reminder that fear and anxiety can spread as fast as any plague. The Tanganyika Laughter Epidemic remains one of the largest and strangest documented cases of mass psychogenic illness. Psychologists study it to understand how stress can move through communities like fire, from boarding schools to entire regions. And it hasn't gone away. Today, similar phenomena still break out, only faster and amplified by social media. In the early 2000s, clusters of unexplained tics appeared among teenagers in places like upstate New York and were widely reported in the media, with new cases spreading as awareness grew. More recently, platforms such as TikTok and Instagram have fueled outbreaks of functional tics and anxiety-driven symptoms across groups of teens almost overnight. Mass psychogenic illness now travels at the speed of Wi-Fi. Experts warn that when fear, uncertainty, and connection collide, we're vulnerable. Our nervous systems still mirror one another. Laughter, panic, and even pain can cascade through communities. In 1962, fear and change turned to unstoppable laughter, a strange epidemic no one could contain. The Tanganyika Laughter Epidemic reminds us, sometimes the most powerful contagions are not diseases, but emotions themselves. Would you have stayed calm or joined the laughter? Tell us in the comments. Subscribe to Silent Shadows of History for more dark and forgotten tales.